Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, you can mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we get into our practice session, let's take a few minutes to understand how this meditation can help us to develop our inner awareness, our clarity, and how it can cultivate our mind. Because the very purpose of this whole practice, development of our mind and our awareness. So it is not something you bringing outside to inside. So that everything already there within yourself. But the thing is, because of certain defilements, cankers, mental formations, your mind is still not experienced the highest. So even though in conventional life you think that you experience life, in the depth of that experience, there is something you're missing. You're missing it because through the past experience, whatever the mistakes that we have done. So we are our own reason. Through meditations, we try to purify our own inner awareness. So it covered by the greed, hatred, and the delusion. So when we hear that, we say, oh, we know the greed. Or we know the delusion. Or we know the hatred. But when it comes to very deeper sense, that it is just not something that you can catch or understand through events or sometimes comparison or sometimes with the names or sometimes with the certain kind of memory related to us. So when it comes to greed, how you understand that greed? Then there are certain memories in your mind related to something, and through that you try to understand the greed. That is not the greed. So you have to be very careful of this. And hatred, when you try to understand the hatred, why we cannot get into the very nature of the essence of the hatred, the bottom of the hatred, because when we hear the hatred, we just clinging to certain events, certain pictures, certain ideas. And once you clinging to an idea, out of idea, you cannot understand non-identical concept or non-identical method. So the delusion the same. What the mistake mostly we does, we try to understand something through names or forms which not related to names or forms. So it's nothing wrong, because that we all act, we all try to do things according to the limit of our own inner consciousness or awareness or understanding. We cannot go beyond that. So that's why we need the meditation, or that's why we need the Dharma. So the Dharma is something beyond our consciousness, our personal understanding. So when you have the faith towards it, surrender to it, so it's kind of like you entering to something which more higher than you. So to get into that, in the very first level, we have to come to a point to develop certain kind of tranquility state. Because hold it to some kind of thoughts or ideas, you cannot understand the Dharma. So the Dharma itself means the very essence of the nature. So as you know, that all this entire universe came out of 4 elements: heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And water, fire, air, and earth. So just imagine that this human body has these 4 elements: water, fire, air, and earth. So that element related to your body also. So you are the same. You also have the same thing. But how the same elements came with different form? Why it happened like that way? So the water doesn't have a rose. Fire doesn't have the rose. Earth doesn't have the rose. Air doesn't have the rose. But this 4 element has ability to bring a rose. This 4 elements has an ability to bring a form which is not related to it. So how this happened? So that is where we go, things arise and appear according to necessary cause and conditions. So then you become like this with the certain cause and conditions in you. So if you don't try to investigate it, or if you don't try to look into it, you're not going to see it. Because out of these 4 elements, you became like this, and then using that awareness or the consciousness, you start to look something else. So the reality means you slowly start to observe how you became like this, how you experience this. What is this experience mean? You can do it right now, right here, as who you are. In the very raw level of life, you need to experience that. We call it the present moment. So in the meditation, it's not developing another kind of the mindset or the thinking pattern. You slowly try to allow your mind to settle down. So that's why in the beginning, we need the primary mental object. Once you settle down with the object, and in that point, the primary mental object related to the present moment, that means the sensation. So sensation is not an idea. It's a moment of experience. And once you settle down to that, from that point, you are able to see something within your own body. So what is that? That is the whatever you experience, whatever appear as a sensation. So the sensation is a word, and it's a name. And then once you hear the name, it brings a form to you. So, but still, the real sensation is not the name or the form. The word called feeling or the sensation doesn't have the sensation. That is what you have to understand. So whatever the name that you represent you is not you. That's what you have to understand. But in the day-to-day life, we get lost in that name. So whatever the form that you carry is not the form, not the you. It is something. But we don't see like that way. So the same way then, take this very carefully, be with me. So what the name you represent is not you. So here, that whoever, that the form that you represent or your appearance is not you. But the thing is, we hold it to that appearance, or we hold it to that name, and we're struggling and maintaining it, believing that is who we are. But there it's deeply something else. So the meditation is a method that you go beyond this name and the form or the moment of experience and deeply start to see. So in the surface level, that mostly we try to understand things using our mental ability, thoughts. So as example, that Nibbana is formless, but mostly we try to understand the Nibbana being in the form. So once you being in the form, how you can understand formlessness? So using the pictures or the colors, we try to understand emptiness. And so the thing is this, when it comes to, you make a kind of like a building, you make a structure. And when you build a building, you caught up in the structure. Try to get it very carefully. When you build a building, right away it comes to your mind the structure. But the building means not the structure. The building means space. So how about you build a structure without a space inside? Then it's not going to become a building. So even that whatever the house or apartment building, office building, and when you build that, there should be a space to access and to be there. And that is where it become an office building. That is where it become a house. That is where it become apartment building. But the thing is, when we hear the building, house, office, we caught up in the certain structure, we not see the space. So if you're able to understand that, this path become very easy. So then in life, when we say the life, right away, it come to your mind names and forms, but the names and forms, not the life. So when it comes to pain, right away, there are names and forms come to your mind, but the pain is not the names or forms. So then how you can go beyond this? So that's why you have to know the method, to know the experiencer. You have to be conscious regarding the consciousness. You should know how you know. That is where you have to focus. Once you go that way, it's kind of like a go backward. That's go inside. That you go into it, not go towards outside. In the very conventional way, it's kind of like a concept. When you go with the outside things, it's just only the concept, not real experience. So when you observe the sensation, then don't caught up in mentally with the names or forms. The very beauty of the human life, you have capacity, you have ability to be in the moment. So once you come to the moment, in that real moment, in that real timeline, if you're able to tune to that, There is something you can experience that called the direct perception. You can experience something without names or forms. And once, that is the very nature of the tranquility state. Once you come to that experience, from that point, you can go deeper and see the very nature of the experiencer. And that is where you see that everything changed. The observer, the experiencer, perceiver change. But if you don't see it, it always, there is something come as the self. And that's where we say, oh, this is me. But in the shallow level of life, of course, it is there. And conventionally, you can see it. That everything the same, that's the same thing with the, like this, no one can say there's nothing here. Of course, there's something here. Look, I can touch it, I can feel it. So like that. But just imagine this came out of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So that is mean, even though it appear like this, there is something underneath this formlessness exists. So why this become like this form? And one thing is according to necessary conditions, another thing is our conditional mind. So can you access to this formlessness? Even though it appears as a form, by the time, as you know, within 100 years, this is not going to be here like this. So what does that mean? Even though it is here like this, there is something keep happening. This belongs to something. That's why by the time it going to be there and going to go into that whatever it belongs. So then while you experiencing this in the moment, can you know that what is behind this? What is underneath this? So that is a physical example. Maybe it is look like, you need time to think like that. But if you able to use the same to your mind, it is very easy. It is not difficult. Even this getting to this is a very difficult, but because why? This is, you can touch, you can feel that this is there something. Then to go beyond this physical layer is not easy, because this still you feel it in the moment. Maybe in the 100 years it's not going to be here, but still it is here. So then it is appear like this. Then logically for you, it is very difficult to go beyond this form to access the formlessness. But your mind is very easy. Why? Because the mind is itself that whatever is formless. And it even it not appeared as a form. These are all thoughts. But once we hold it to that, that's why it appears as this whole body. This, you experience everything. And this body brings that most of the experience. But the very key point in the present moment, if you come to the very epicenter, and then from there you will see that nothingness. It is there with you. That emptiness is there with you. So if you're able to see, tune to that point or settle down in that point, in that very moment, one single moment, if you're able to stay there like this time, that experience will take you to different level, which we call the transformation or the liberation. So it is there. So then in the tranquility state, settle down with the sensation, and at the same time, don't look towards outside. Try to bring the ability to see that how you see that experience, what you take as experience. And what is the sensation mean to you? And then look from where it comes. And then see that what is this recognizer? What do you mean by recognize? Is there, you use any memory? Oh, it is just the moment of direct perception. So be with that. And then you will see in the moment that when you get into the present moment, that the moment by moment, the change, bring the ability to open for you to the next moment. So if you try to understand it with the names and forms, that this timeline is not enough for you. This time is not enough. So then it will go eons by eons. But once you settle down and let everything to settle down there and just be with it, you need only one single moment. So try to open to that moment and unlock, let it unlock inside and be with that moment. So with that, bring your attention to your body, your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line, and gently close your eyes. Scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach our mind from any kind of past memories or any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. And recognize the sensation. Do nothing extra. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Also, may all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata ca ammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjissami idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.